An important aspect of entrepreneurship is the entrepreneur's personality, but it's amazing how often that is overlooked. So I'm talking to Neha Mathur. She's the founder of Missing Piece and an image consultant. And we'll be talking about what areas of an entrepreneur's personality contribute towards their success. And she'll be sharing a lot of tips. So I'm excited about this conversation. Hi, Neha. Welcome to Unboxing Entrepreneurship.
Hi, thanks a lot for having me, Pallavi. Lovely. Super excited to be here.
Great. I'm also looking forward to the conversation. So Neha is the founder of the Missing Piece, and I let her tell us about what she does. But I'm excited to see where this conversation goes because she talks a lot about personal branding. She's very focused on building your personality up, and I think that's very important for an entrepreneur. So just maybe tell us about what you do.
Okay, sure. So the Missing Piece is essentially founded on the basic premise of acceptance of ourselves, of who we are as individuals, and then showcasing our personality, our characteristics, our traits to the rest of the world. Because what usually happens is, we get so caught up in our lives that we just tend to follow a pattern which the others are following, in which we kind of tend to lose ourselves. So what I, as an image consultant or as a personal branding consultant, do is help people identify their true authentic self. How is it that they want to be seen by others? And then I coach them, I give them actionable steps on what they can do in terms of their appearance. So it's essentially the ABC is what I focus on, which is your appearance, how you dress and how you groom yourself, how you present yourself. B stands for your behavior, your mannerisms, your etiquette, because that also matters a lot in how others see you. And of course, C standing for communication, how your verbal communication is, what your non-verbal communication is, because these three aspects are a very important part of your personality. So that is essentially what I do, what I help individuals and groups with.
Awesome. So, I as a marketer always talk about brands accepting what their USP is, even if they are in the same space as someone else, as a larger competitor or a smaller competitor. I always talk about what is it that your USP is, what is it that you bring to this space that nobody else is bringing, right? And I know that as small businesses, it does, and solopreneurs, it does become a little bit difficult to embrace yourself, embrace your brand's USP, because you are competing in quite it's quite possible that you are competing with a very large company, right? So you do tend to follow and say, oh, they are doing this works, why don't I do the same thing, right? So definitely as a business, you have to embrace that USP as well. But I think what I find interesting is that the person also needs to understand that there is a uniqueness to what they are, and they need to kind of harness that and build on that in order to be successful. So I guess that's what you're talking about, right? You need to understand who you are and then project that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because see, no matter, even if I'm working for a large company, right? Even if I'm working for a multinational, when I am interacting, be it with a client, be it with a stakeholder, be it even with my manager at work, right? I am representing the company. Right. So yes, the company I work for, so-and-so company, does build a bit of a wow factor, but then it's basis on that interaction that the individual has with me as a person, which will actually lead to whether it's a positive interaction, whether they want to interact with me again or not, or with the organization again or not, right? So of course, for an employee, aligning yourself a little bit with the company's overall brand identity is important. But for an entrepreneur, it's super important, because even before you open your mouth, right, the person in front of you has already formed an opinion. Right? They've already created an impression in their mind. They've already somewhere even made a decision whether they want to associate with you or not. So just these little extra steps, this little focus on how am I looking, how are others seeing me, can make a lot of difference for an entrepreneur, because we want to create wow impressions with everyone that we interact with, right? So it makes a lot of difference.
So it does. how you present yourself, and what is it that you are trying to portray does make a lot of difference to eventually how of course your customers see you, but also how your partners see you, how people that you're interacting with, how they all see you. So I do believe that yes, it is very important for an entrepreneur to have a very clear idea of who they are, and how they actually convey that to the external world, right? So let's maybe talk a little bit about what are the, I mean, you kind of mentioned it, these are your ABCs, right? But what are the three areas that you feel out of those that, you really want, or you really wish that, an entrepreneur does focus on? Like specifically for an entrepreneur, what do you think are the more important aspects of that?
Okay. So see, for me, of course, like you said, the ABC is the overall view, right?
Yeah.
But most important is dressing up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you need to be always suited, booted. Based on the industry that you're in, based on what your personality is, wear the right clothes, right? And don't just, again, like how you mentioned, don't just do something because somebody else is also doing it.
Correct.
That's where your individuality will shine, where what is unique about you can be showcased with the kind of clothes you wear, with the way you dress, and that is how you are remembered also in the minds of others. Yes. So clothing, of course, dressing appropriately, wearing the right colors, the fit, all of that is very, very important. So that's number one for me. Number two is work on your body language, right? Yes, of course, you're good at what you do. There's no doubt about that. You're passionate about what you do, but let that come across when you're interacting with people. When you're talking about your product, let your body language also be animated. Yeah. A lot of times I've seen certain entrepreneurs give business presentations or even talk about their business in a very stiff manner. Now, it could be because they're nervous, because they're, so focused, and it maybe it's a high stake meeting for them. So, their all focus is on the presentation, but I would say loosen up your body language a little bit, show the excitement, show the passion that you have for your business via your body language, right? Use your hands, make eye contact, smile when you're talking about your business, because this is your baby at the end of the day. You've put in the hard work, you've put in the effort, you've dreamt about this. Right? So body language is the second thing, which I say is very, very crucial for the entrepreneur. So right from your eye contact and everything that goes into it.
Yeah.
And of course, the third thing is coming back to the clothes, because I'm a very visual person, but this is not the clothes. This is your shoes. Especially when you're meeting people in person, right? Yeah. Your shoes, your accessories, just the clothes are okay. Just wearing the right outfit is enough. Yeah. But the right kind of shoes, make sure your shoes are in good condition. Make sure the accessories that you're teaming up with your outfit, for a woman or for a man, are, they should not like distract from you or from what you're going to present, but it should look like you've put in an effort to kind of put together your outfit or your look for that person. Because there is this saying which goes by, dressing well is a form of good manners. So you're essentially, by putting in that effort, you're communicating to your audience that this is important for me. You matter, which is why I have made the effort to present myself in this manner, right? So of course, the right clothes, the right body language, and the right shoes and accessories is what I would say are three most important things that an entrepreneur should keep in mind.
Absolutely. And I really resonate with the body language bit, especially because, if there are many entrepreneurs who are now online, right? They have a digital presence. And we all know that video is the one that is really booming right now. You cannot build a business without having certain videos. And I know from my personal experience that when I started shooting a video, initially I was like really stiff and I'm talking and, I don't know where to smile because I'm talking about a really serious subject. There's no, I just don't know what the point is where I can, kind of relax my expression. 2 years from now, 2 years from that, now when I look at my videos, I know that I'm as animated as I am right now in a conversation, because when you're conversing, you're not necessarily, putting on a false face, but your face is animated, like I'm using your hands, and you were also using your hand when you were, making a point. all of those things do translate on to a video as well, because if in a video the person is coming across as a realistic person, the viewer is not going to engage with it, right? Whereas if you're
Absolutely.
talking naturally and your body language is all natural, then you're interested in watching it. Then you don't need all the fluffy all the transitions or all the all the stickers that need to come on the video, because you as a person have engaged the audience.
Exactly. So, and in fact, even in videos, right, sometimes what happens is because we get very conscious,
Yes.
right? And as much as we practice, the more we do it, the more comfortable we'll get. Trust me. I mean, and when I tell some of my clients, or when I'm doing like a group session for people, when I tell them that I used to actually, the first time I gave a presentation about my business, or when I spoke in front of an audience, I was actually shaking. Right? People refuse to believe that I am still a very reserved person. I won't say I'm an introvert. I'm more an ambivert, where I'm very selective about who I interact with and who I open up to. But so initially, I take my time. So the first time I remember, I was shaking. I had these note cards in my hand that I was using, and my hands were shaking. I mean, I couldn't even. It was probably my worst presentation. But did I stop after that? No. I kept at it. I kept practicing. And with every time I got up to speak, I got better and better. So, another thing that I would tell people, that yes, and I'm sure when you look back to those early videos of yourself, you would be like, oh my God,
Yes.
you might even be cringing sometimes. Oh God, what is this? How can I even put it up out there? Exactly. But that's okay. Because that's where your authenticity also comes in, right? That's what makes you real. That yes, I'm nervous, but I am going to work on it. I'm going to get better at it. So it's absolutely normal and absolutely okay to be a little conscious. But then with practice, with awareness, we can improve, and we can get things to reach a place where we feel comfortable and we feel confident, be it in front of the camera or in front of, I don't know, 20, 30, 300 people.
Exactly, right. And in fact, when you talked about the clothing aspect, the confidence aspect of it, I feel that it also comes about if you are dressed well, or if you are confident of your personality, then that automatically comes into confidence. Like, you don't have to do anything extra to build that confidence. As an example, now that we are all working from home, right? I've been working from home for the last 2 years. I have this pile of clothing which are just lying there, all my good office clothing, which I don't obviously wear. Why should I be uncomfortable? But I have realized in the last 1 or 2 months that putting on clothing that fit well, that I feel good in, it does make a difference, even to the smallest things, like what my posture is, how do I stand, and how do I sit. So I'm not lounging around. I'm not lounging around the whole time. It's much more focused in what I'm doing, and that translates into my communication, into how I feel about my day, and what am I doing, like that.
So yeah, what you're saying in terms of the clothing, right? And this is something that I tell all my clients, and I think this is our Indian mindset, I would say, that when our clothes, our home clothes, are usually the worn out, and the clothes that we've worn outside our office wear, or are generally going out wear, which is kind of looking haggard, and but we still don't want to get rid of it, becomes our home lounge clothes. So what I even tell my clients, and which is what people have started doing now, is even the lounge clothes, right? They need to be nice. And of course, when you're sitting down to work, dress up. Yes, nobody's seeing you. Yes, you're not going out of the house, but still wear, I mean, of course, don't be uncomfortable. Like, I mean, you don't need to, wear a full suit and sit down to work, but at least wear colors that, you feel good in. Wear some earrings, do a little bit of makeup. Again, don't go all out. Just do a little lipstick, a little bit of kajal, liner, whatever works for you, right? So that you yourself look put together. Because again, immediately when you see yourself in the mirror, it acts like a confidence boost.
Yeah.
Right. And you get into that mode that, okay, I am going to now sit down and work. Otherwise, and I completely resonate with you. I also used to just lounge in my shorts and my t-shirt. I mean, there was at one point, there was no difference between my sleepwear and my workwear. I would get up, get out of bed, open the laptop, get to work, roll back into bed, go into the kitchen. I mean, that's what we were all doing in the lockdown, right?
Yeah.
But once I consciously made the effort, right, that, okay, change, wear the right clothes, wear the right colors, do your hair up a little bit. It instantly changes your mood, and you end up being a lot more productive. That's what I have experienced myself. So this is what I highly recommend to everyone, that even if you're working from home, doesn't mean you just, you've gotten up, you've done your other chores around the house, you're still in your pajamas, you sit down to do your work. No, take a shower, get ready, even if it is, from one lounge pant to another. Still do something which is well fitted, which is in good shape, which you feel good and comfortable in. You will end up having a more productive day. So it absolutely works. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. Let's talk a little bit about the communication, and I think that perhaps that is something that we do tend to lack, especially in India, and especially when we're talking about formal communication, business communication, let me call it that. That is something that we lack. And I know I've seen posts on your social media where, you're talking not just about verbal communication, you're also talking about, digital communication. So maybe would you like to talk a little bit about what kind of communication skills are important for an entrepreneur?
All right. So of course, your verbal and non-verbal are very important. Now, from the digital perspective, and of course, you will know much more than I do, but certain hygiene factors that we need to keep in mind, especially as entrepreneurs. One is to keep a separate line, like your personal life and your professional life needs to be different, right? Yes, of course. For a solopreneur like me, and the work that I do, I am my brand. There is nothing else. There is no differentiating, but still I keep two separate accounts. I do showcase a bit of my personality, of course, because that is what people connect with. But not everything about my personal life goes out onto my business profile, right? So be thoughtful, think it through. Don't just post anything and everything, because especially on your business profile, because your audience is going to see that. They may have already engaged with you, they may have already bought from you, they may be your existing customers, but they're still looking at you. You're putting yourself out there. So how is it that you want to be seen?
Yes,
right? As an entrepreneur, as a professional, as a brand, how is it that you want to be seen? In fact, even on the profiles, right? Your personal profiles, how much are you sharing? Do you really want to share every little detail about your life? Again, is a call that I think there is a little too much out there from a lot of people, but my personal style, the way I like it, I like to keep certain things private, right? And it's not that I'm lazy or something. I mean, of course, I go out with friends, I have a social life, but not everything needs to be put out there on social media, right? So be a little thoughtful and mindful about what you're putting out there, and that is also creating an image about you as a person, you as an entrepreneur, right? So yeah, you may be partying with your friends and you may put out some pictures which you would think, oh, this is only for my social profile, my personal profile, nobody's going to see it. But well, once it's out there, right? Anybody. And that is what comes up. And you may or may not want them to see that part of your personality. So be a little thoughtful from a digital perspective also. Of course, your verbal communication, your non-verbal, of course, I've spoken. The verbal also, what are you saying? The right usage of words, right? A lot of people also sometimes, come to me saying that our English is not so good.
Yeah.
And I tell them, it doesn't matter. You're still able to communicate, right? So figure out a way, and especially for an entrepreneur, not everybody will have all the skill sets, right? So even if, and especially here in the South, right, a lot of people have a little bit of an accent also. Again, they get very conscious about it. I said, I tell them it's all right. If you really want to work on utilizing your accent, go ahead and do that. But don't let that hold you back from talking or speaking up at the workplace or interacting with your audience, because that is who you are. That is part of who you are. So and again, should you always change it? That is a decision that the individual has to make. I do not tell them that, no, you must change this or you must not change this about yourself. Whatever the individual wants to work upon is what I work upon with them. Of course, there will be suggestions here and there, but no, there is no hard and fast rule that, okay, this is how it should be and this is how you should be. Because again, then we're making cookie cutter entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
And I don't want to do that. Everybody has their individualism. Everybody has their own personality. So these are some of the things, when it comes to communication, be yourself. Just be yourself, but know when to draw the line and don't be too much of yourself on social media.
That's a good way to put it. Don't be too much of yourself. No, I think I agree with you that there is no one solution for a person to be like. There's no one solution of what an exact perfect entrepreneur or an exact professional is. There definitely has to be that uniqueness, and you also have to understand that what are the things that perhaps that you feel that you lack. How does it affect what you do? Like, as an example, I'm extremely collaborative, I'm extremely honest, I'm extremely transparent. That's just how I am. I know of other people who are not like that, right? They're a little bit more close fisted, and they would rather process the information first before sharing it out with the world. But I'm more transparent, and I know what impact it has. Yes, it gives me better clients, helps me make better connections, but sometimes I'm also so transparent that I end up losing something because I've already shared the information, and now that person is like, why should I pay her? So I know the impact that it has, and what it has done is it has made me realize, or it has made me more conscious about when I need to be transparent and when I don't, because that just adds to my professional skill, that now I understand I'm a little bit street smart, and now I know, okay, this is where I need to be who I am, and this is where I kind of need to hold myself back. So I think I really like your approach that you're not building a cookie cutter person. You have to understand who that person is, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and then it's up to the person to decide whether they want to work on those weaknesses, knowing what impact it would have if they don't. So yeah, I really like that, and I appreciate that that's what your approach is.
So actually, talking about strengths and weaknesses, I would also like to add here that I also very strongly believe that, yes, that awareness should be there. What am I good at? What am I not so great at? And again, our human tendencies, we go more towards the negatives. Oh, yes. I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. Rather than that, see what you're good at. You're excellent at so many other things. Build on that. And if there is something that you feel that, okay, this is what I'm lacking, I want to develop this. Right? That awareness, that acceptance, again, acceptance, I know that's a word that constantly comes up in my conversation, that acceptance has to be there, that yes, I'm not so great at this, and this is what I want to work upon. So that should be, the thought process going in.
Yeah, awareness and acceptance are, I believe, very, very important for any individual. And I don't know if you see this, but I believe that younger people do find it hard to accept who they are. And in most cases, they are not self-aware, and that's just at the stage of life you are. Like, I know that I have become more self-aware, and then I've also kind of started to let go of things that I don't want to change, because I'm who I am, right? So I'm at that stage where I'm aware and I've accepted myself. But yes, somebody who's starting out may need to go through that entire cycle of understanding who they are. And I believe that as entrepreneurs, we need to have that extra level of awareness and acceptance, not just for ourselves, but for our business or for the situation in life and the external factors. And perhaps that will again come from experience and talking with other people and learning from their experience, like we're doing now. So
absolutely.
So just to wrap up, I think the intent of this conversation for me really was to get an idea of, what are the skills, of course, that an entrepreneur has. But because you have also worked with so many individuals, I think entrepreneur or not an entrepreneur, there's an understanding of what people go through when they are in a professional kind of situation. And I think that your experience and your input would help everyone to kind of figure out the path that they want. Like, where is their personality going? What are the areas that they want to improve? And as we said, what are the areas that they don't want to improve? So that was the intent of this conversation. And I'm very thankful to you that you shared your knowledge extremely freely. I love that you gave so many tips on, some specific areas, because I believe that listening to this or watching this, whatever the case may be, I believe that people will take away a lot of information from that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pallavi, for having me. And yes, I loved interacting with you. As always, we always lose track of time when we're talking to each other. But yes, thank you so much for having me on. Yeah.
Absolutely. And all the best to you, Neha.
Thank you. Thank you. Wish you the same.
Thanks.